Hey guys, it's Hazy here, and today I'll be doing a character analysis of Quiet, the scantily clad mysterious marksman who appears towards the middle of the game to kill the boss, but instead has a change of heart, albeit for reasons unknown. So your first encounter with Quiet isn't actually in some ancient ruins in Afghanistan, but in the hospital where you first awake in Cyprus. Operating as an agent of Skullface's Strike Force XOF, Quiet is sent in to eliminate you. Ultimately, she fails as the patient next to you, named Ishmael, saves your life by dousing her in rubbing alcohol and setting her ablaze. After a few minutes of struggling, she succumbs to the pain of burning alive and tumbles out a nearby window. Fast forward to the ruins in Afghanistan. You receive a tape from Ocelot saying that a legendary sniper is roaming Afghanistan, killing Soviet officers utilizing perfect stealth. He then asks you to go investigate. As soon as you make it on location, Quiet immediately open fires on Snake, and after one of those classic MGS sniper fight boss battles, the player is given the choice to either capture or kill Quiet. Admittedly, after much deliberation, Quiet becomes choosable as a buddy in future missions, and as the storyline progresses, the trust between her character and the boss grows. However, once you extract Code Talker from the mansion, you learn that the parasites are ultimately the source of Quiet's superhuman powers. Fast track to the end of the game. Quiet escapes Mother Base and you are sent out to recapture her. Code Talker informs you via cassette tape that Quiet was infected with the English strain vocal parasite and that she was sent by Skullface before he died to destroy Mother Base just by speaking English. However, she decides that silence is the best policy. Upon finding her, and after a very over-the-top action cutscene, the player and Quiet are forced to defend the position from an immense Soviet onslaught. Once completed, Snake collects the now badly injured Quiet and must navigate a sandstorm without any equipment, which he just so conveniently lost, to reach their LZ. Just before making it, Snake must dive behind a nearby rock to avoid being spotted by an enemy patrol. Unfortunately, behind the rock, a venomous snake lies in wait, and after biting him, he falls unconscious. Quiet hears Pequod's dispatch over the radio and is confronted with the most pivotal question this character has to face in the entire game. Will she risk her own death by breaking her silence and speaking in English to guide Pequod to their location, thusly awakening the dormant parasites, or maintain her silence and kill the boss? Choosing to break her silence, she guides the helicopter to her location, seemingly using her hearing alone, and saves Snake's life. She then leaves, and when the boss comes to, he again chases after her, following her footsteps to find a tape recorder on a tree with a tape inside. Quiet's exodus. She explains how she chose the, quote, language of gratitude over the language of vengeance, suggesting that her silence was a choice of protection and preservation and not one of omission. In the final cutscene, she states, "I am quiet. I am the absence of words," disappearing behind a cloud of sand shortly thereafter. Although it isn't explicitly stated, it is my belief that Quiet lives despite the activation of the English parasite within her larynx. As stated earlier in the game, Quiet breathes through her skin via the dermal parasites covering her body, and as a result of severe lung damage caused by Ishmael in the first episode of the game, taking into account that the vocal parasites kill their host through the destruction of alveolar tissue, it is reasonable to believe that the parasite activation would be insufficient to kill Quiet. Now, time for the nitty-gritty analysis. When you think about it, Quiet is no more than a side progression in the game, as the player can either choose to extract her or kill her in Afghanistan and end it all right then and there. Her timeline has no lasting impact on the main progression of the game whatsoever, and her awful "I'm gonna kill the guy you just tranquilized in hyperspeed just because you equipped me with a lethal weapon" kind of mentality is not easily missed when she disappears for the last time. Furthermore, Quiet is just a more highly glorified version of one of Skullface's many pawns. She is deliberately infected with the parasite and released to Big Boss in an attempt to make her patient zero in a plague that would ideally destroy all of the Diamond Dog's staff. He intentionally preys on her lust for vengeance, promising her revenge on the boss in exchange for her body and more precisely her humanity. This is the classic allusion to Men Become Demons in the last E3 2013 trailer prior to release. Lastly, her character just didn't really appeal to me. In previous games, after defeating a boss, players were usually confronted with a 10-minute or sometimes longer diatribe about characters' past and their motivations. Choosing to steer away from drawn-out, heavy-handed cutscenes, Kojima tried to keep things short and sweet in this game. However, therein lies a conflict. A character that cannot use words to explain their intentions is left only with body language to convey a message. Unfortunately, Quiet's actions range from flying around, pummeling enemies like a character straight out of the Matrix, to rigidly standing upon some horizontal ridgeline adorning a 1,000-yard stare. Namely, I found her body language excessively dynamic when it isn't needed, and other times lacking when it was most important. I can't help but feel that her character is just poor MGS fan service, a highly edgy, semi-sexualized female plot device that at best will inspire a decent cosplay. She lacks personality beyond her extraordinary superhuman powers, and after about 1 hour's worth of enigmatic cutscenes in total, her final sacrifice offers the player no real closure, no real walk-away lesson or emotion that so many bosses in previous games capture. She just kind of shows up out of the blue and helps you out for a bit, and just before leaving tells you she could have ruined your life for a second time in less than a decade. Her character development isn't terribly awful, but there is room for improvement, not just in terms of plot progression, but also in gameplay mechanics as well. Well, that concludes this character analysis. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe for more content, and I will hopefully catch you guys in the next video.
1.5 miles.